get right to it, okay? And so, my question to you is, why do narcissistic workplaces punish truth tellers and protect toxic people? Think about that. If you ever spoken up at work, or perhaps you try to address issues like fairness, ethics, or boundaries, and suddenly you became the problem, this live is for you. All right. Before we go even further, drop in the comments where you tuning in from, city, state, or country. For those who don't know, I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, originally from New York. And while you're typing that, let me ask you this. Have you ever been punished for telling the truth at work? Yes or no? Comment below. And for those who are new here, my name is Jenny Gaston, licensed professional counselor of about 20 years of experience. And on this channel, we talk about anxiety, depression, trauma, perimenopause, and how unhealthy systems impact our mental health. And today, we're going to continue our series on narcissistic systems, specifically in the workplace, because it is rampant, I tell you. I have a few clients that are actually struggling right now with legal issues because of this, okay? And in my previous video, I did talk about truth tellers and why they're often punished instead of protected. And today I want to explain why. All right. And I want you to hear me here. What's most important is that where our beliefs are coming from. Too often we feel if I work hard, if I'm honest, and I communicate clearly at work, I'll be respected. In the ideal world, that makes sense. In healthy environments, yes. But in narcissistic workplaces that don't run on integrity, that's not the case. Why? Because they often run on control. And the moment you name the reality, you disrupt the illusion. So let's pause for a minute, okay? And let me ask you something. Did the rules seem to change after you spoke up? Comment yes if this happened to you. All right? And so far, if you're vibing with us, kindly subscribe. And we're going to get a little educational for a moment, okay? So what is a narcissistic system? Well, it's pretty much a narcissistic workplace. It could be a home environment, it could be a family. But going back to workplace, it's not just about having a toxic boss, okay? It's more so a system where image matters more than truth. And I apologize for any background noise. I have some happy children downstairs doing what they do, make noise, and it's all good, right? We're gonna roll with it. Okay. Yes, Therapy Saturday. I see you. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate the love. And unfortunately, in these toxic workplaces, loyalty matters more than ethics. Silence is rewarded, and accountability only flows downward in these environments. Okay. Here you have high performers that are protected, and often empathic employees are drained. And truth is treated like betrayal. So when someone tells the truth, the system doesn't ask, is this accurate? It often says, how do we silence this person? Okay, this is the part that confuses people the most. Why? Because truth tellers aren't targeted because they're weak. They're targeted because they're clear. And guess what? No one likes when someone holds a mirror, especially if you're not ready to acknowledge the truth. Okay? Truth tellers sees contradictions, they name patterns, and they don't all typically collude with dysfunction. And narcissistic systems cannot survive that exposure. Okay? Yes, yes. And so, instead of fixing the problem, guess what? They target the person pointing to it. That's when you start seeing things like sudden write ups, micromanagement, be excluded from meetings, and character assassination. And I appreciate all the love. I see those hearts. Okay. So, if your treatment changed after you spoke up, that is not a coincidence, guys. Let's talk about when toxic becomes illegal. This is important, okay? So I'm going to slow down a little bit because this is where people underestimate what's happening. And at this point, toxic can become harassment or even retaliation. So I'm going to list some red flags for you, okay? One is punishment after reporting concerns or being disciplined for things others are not. Or you may face public humiliation, right? Instead of being pulled aside, you're getting blasted during the meetings. Threats often are tied to also job security. Or you may be isolated on purpose. And guess what? Harassment does not have to be sexual to be illegal. Let that sink in. It's important to know your rights. Okay? And you have the right to be in a workplace free from harassment. Period. Okay? And I see all the love. Hello. Thanks for joining. And I don't know who is calling me. I get these spam calls all the time, but we're going to keep it rolling. Okay? We're going to keep it rolling. Reasonable accommodations, guess what, are important. And if your employer is not giving you that, there are places you can seek support from, like the EEOC, right? State and labor or human rights departments. There's also legal aid at work and employment attorneys. So many of these employment attorneys do offer free consultations. So comment below. Did you know or ever realize that retaliation is illegal? Yes or no? Yes or no? I'll give you a second. All right. So let's talk about our nervous system. How are we feeling today, right? Talking about work stress. Some of you guys probably like, I don't even want to think about work. I'm off today, right? How are we feeling? This is the feeling pillow. If you Google the feeling wheel, you'll get this beautiful diagram of all these emotions. Let's check in with our nervous system. All right, because narcissistic workplaces keep people in chronic fight, flight, freeze mode. And so I'm going to give you some tools that I give my own clients. First, let's talk about reality anchoring. Write down the facts, okay? Gaslighting thrives on confusion. So you got to keep receipts. This might mean following up with an email, just 1 or 2 sentences, just to confirm this is what you meant, right? Because sometimes people will say, well, I never said that. And guess what? If you don't have any record, then it's your word against theirs. Okay, so it's important to keep receipts. Second, micro boundaries. You don't owe emotional labor to unsafe environments. Third is body regulation. Walking, stretching, slow breathing. Let's breathe together, guys. Let's take a deep inhale through our nose. Smell the roses. Hold for 2. Now blow out the candles. Again, inhale. Smell the roses. Hold for 2. And blow out the candles. That simple act, especially when you're in a stressful workplace environment, can help ground you. All right, this is medical, guys. We got to take care of our health. Another one is exit strategy thinking. Even knowing you could leave calms the nervous system, okay? So which do you struggle with most? Is it like boundaries, stress, fear of leaving? Comment below. What do you struggle with the most? Okay. Yes. And if you have any questions, I can definitely support you. Like I said, I'm a mental health counselor, and today we're talking about toxic workplace environments. Okay. All right, here. And I see your question. I will get that towards the end. Yes, since it's not related, I'll get back to you. So if you're able, I'm going to give you some more journal prompts. I want you to write these down, but you can always watch the replay. Okay, so what truth did I tell myself that made the system uncomfortable? What parts of myself have I been shrinking at work? 3, what is my body holding that my voice wasn't allowed to say? 4, what would self-protection look like right now? If you want these prompts as a PDF, let me know in the comments. And I also want to answer the question I started with. Why do narcissistic workplaces punish truth tellers and protect toxic people? Well, because the truth threatens control, and systems built on control will always attack clarity. So if this happened to you, you weren't weak, you're not the problem. You know, this is the reality we live in. And before we close, I do want to invite you to my Facebook support group. So if you're on Facebook, it's called No Contact, Not Chronicles. And it's a safe space where we talk about workplace trauma, narcissistic systems, healing without gaslighting, and more. So I'll leave a link in the description. Yes, facts. Thank you. I appreciate it. And if this live helped you, please like, share, and comment. We are a community, because someone is sitting at work right now thinking, am I the problem? And they're not. They're not. And I definitely want to give you more tools, okay? More tools. But before we do so, I do have a question in the chat. Okay, someone shared that their wife cheated on me and they're messed up in their mind. I'm so sorry to hear about that. And, you know, betrayal trauma is a different form of trauma. It is traumatic, and it's like a loss, but the person is still alive. And you feel like, do I even know who this person is now? So it is a shock in the system. And I would encourage you to seek counseling if you're able to seek support. If you can't afford counseling, I would encourage you to look for support groups. NAMI, NAMI, the acronym NAMI, is an organization that offers a lot of times free support groups. Okay, I would do some research on betrayal trauma. And actually, I do have a video about betrayal trauma. So definitely check out my videos so that you can get some of that healing, because it is a shock to the system. It is painful. It is painful. But I would love to give you some tools. We talked about my feeling pillow, but I'm going to give you some journal prompts that's not only going to help you to process that betrayal that you experienced, but this will also help for workplace trauma as well. Okay. And so let's grab your notes for a second. I like to use old-fashioned journal, but you can also use your phone. Listen, it's password protected. If you have strong readers like I have in my house, that's where the juicy stuff goes. It goes in the phone. But anyhow, so the first prompt I'm going to give you is what happened. What happened? So you know, think about your day in chronological order. This happened, that happened, and so forth. Or perhaps your week. Okay, that's number 1. That's the first prompt. Okay, or it could be 1B. What's my trigger? Because maybe nothing happened, right? Going back to the person who's experiencing betrayal trauma, passing by landmarks. Oh, wow, we used to go to that restaurant. That can be a trigger, and you can write that in your journal. All right. So these are cognitive behavioral therapy prompts for those who are just joining. Number 2, how do I feel? How do I feel? Okay. Going back to the feeling wheel. So you want to acknowledge those feelings. Lots of times we stuff it in, we ignore those feelings, right? But it's not mind over body or body over mind. I'm going to just ignore it. No, we want to tap into a mind body connection. So acknowledge how you feel. Number 3, what are my inner thoughts? What are my inner thoughts? We think thousands of inner thoughts to ourselves each day. But guess what? Many times we don't write them down, but we're replaying it over and over again like a record player. It's draining our energy. And it's like having a computer with all these tabs open. You got to close the tabs. And sometimes just put it in our journal, putting it on in our phone. It's just put it in a container so that we can leave it there, okay, and move forward. So write down your inner thoughts. And then from here, we're going to go even deeper. Prompt number 4. You want to ask yourself, is there any evidence to support these thoughts? Okay, is there any evidence to support these inner thoughts? So what we're doing is we are challenging those thoughts. Yeah, our feelings are valid, our thoughts are valid, but sometimes, if we can be honest, they're based on anxiety and fear, okay, or past trauma. And so we have to know when we're triggered and when that's being activated. Then you want to ask yourself the opposite question, prompt number 5. Is there any evidence to contradict these thoughts? Right? And finally, number 6, how do I feel now? How do I feel now? You may not notice a difference right away, and that's okay. Journaling often will make you feel better, but that's not the goal. The goal is to grow in self-awareness. And sometimes when we journal, for a moment, we feel slightly worse. It's like going to the gym. You feel sore, but you know that it's beneficial. You did the hard work, and it's going to help you to heal. And remember that mental health, when we talk about healing, it is a messy journey. It's not this bar graph, right, where we just reach our goals without having any roadblocks. No, it is messy. So sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm taking 3 steps forward, then 2 steps back, then 5 steps forward, then 4 steps back. It's like, what are we doing? And that can be frustrating, but that's the reality. And if you can accept that this is a messy journey, and then when life throw trials your way, instead of saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? You can ask yourself and say, what can I learn from this? Whether it's an inconvenience to me, but what can I learn? Changing that mindset will help to empower you. And so I hope this live was helpful for you all. Okay, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, join our tribe, like and share this video, and join us every Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time, around 9 a.m. We were a little late today because, we had to take care of the family stuff. Kids always come first, but definitely didn't want to miss the live. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate your support. And if you're in the Northeast like I am, stay warm, stay safe with the storm coming through, and don't worry about it, right? Sometimes we stay on these screens watching these news and gets overwhelmed, right? Just focus on what you have control over and ride it through. Put a movie on, meditate, relax. Some of us, we need a snow day. Sometimes we need a reason to stay in and rest, because otherwise we're doing the most. Okay, I know I'm not the only one. But thank you so much for joining, guys, and take care.